Alright, well this is just a very quick video, totally unedited, probably a bit crappy, but anyway, just to show how to use the block creation file that I created in Excel. So what you're looking at is Excel. You could equally use the open source stuff from OpenOffice. This would probably work, although I haven't tested it. So this is the latest version of Excel. And here you have it. So it's pretty straightforward to use, hopefully. As it suggests here, stuff in green, any of the green bits are inputs, and the blue stuff is things that are created. So the way you use this, if you're going to create your own block from your own dimensions, you refer to this diagram here with all the various dimensions, you know, number 1, number 2, etc. And then you fill them all in here. You actually type in the dimensions, and that's called a custom size. But obviously we've got standard sizes as well. So if you've put these in, fine. What you would do, under the select size, you just click on that cell, and then there's a drop down. So you could, in this case, select custom, and the custom dimensions that you put in are actually put in here. You don't need to worry too much about that, but anyway, they're put in here, and then here's a reduction, and the reduction is the only other input you might want to do is how much you want to shrink the garment because it's latex. So you might decide not to shrink it at all, so you'd set that to 0, and then there is no shrink. So you go in here, you pick, let's say, I don't know, let's do something else. You want a size 14, you want a 5% latex reduction, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And then these tabs here, there's only 3 at the moment, hopefully I'll add to them. So you select, say, a bodice, and basically what you see here, that is updated, that is live, so that'll basically change depending on what dimensions you pick. So for example, we might be able to show that if we change that to size 12, you should see the bodice slightly change when I click in. Yeah, it's too quick, but anyway, that's just been updated to a size 12. That's a bottom block, and that's a skirt block. So these pictures here are taken from, as is the blocks really, are from Catasta's compendium book, which is fantastic. There's a link up here, and I've had permission to use these, so I would suggest checking out his stuff and getting his book. It's a fantastic resource. Well, several things. Anyway, so how do you use this? So you've now created this block. It's just currently a picture. So what do you do with it? Well, it's actually called a vector. So all you do is you select it's actually a chart in Excel, and you just export it. So we'll just do an export, and we'll export it as a PDF file. We'll just call it temp or something, temp, something like that, and we'll export it. Okay, so that is now a PDF file, but again, it's an intermediate step, because what we're going to try and do now is, if I just find that file, well, I've got it actually. So what I'll do is, if I now go into you go into your favourite graphics application, I happen to use this one. This is called Zara, which is a fantastic program. And what you can do is directly import the PDF. I can just drag it straight in. Okay, so that is my PDF file of the block. So let's just show why you might want to do that. What I'll do is actually I'll clean it up a bit. I'll delete that thing there, and I'll delete that background there. And what I'll do is just I'll group. I'm not going to show all of this. I might do another video of this if there's any interest later on. But we'll group that. So that's hopefully one thing now. Yeah, okay. So this is currently an A4 piece of paper. Now obviously the block is much bigger than A4, so we've got to do something about that. So we've got to change the size of this. So we'll do page options in this case. It's not A4, it's going to be a custom size, and I'm not going to lock the page size. Okay, so I can now resize this page. It's no longer A4. I'm going to make it much bigger than A4. I'm not going to do all this work. I'm just going to do the basics. Now the other thing that's important, where is it? On the original spreadsheet, I think I'm just going to move it slightly over that way. When you've done your block, this bounding box stuff is important here. So what you can do in Zara, I'm just going to draw a rectangle that's white. So I'll make it black line, maybe make it, I don't know, 2 point wide, and I'll make it transparent. So I've just drawn a rectangle. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, it is, because this is the size of this rectangle. It's 51 point whatever by 47. Well, it wants to be the size of the bounding box, so we'll make it 44.7 by, what's the other dimension? Let's have a look. 43.2. 43.2. Bang. Okay, so basically that is the bounding rectangle for the block. So if I just do that, right, just about fits on the page. That was quite a good guess, wasn't it? And it was a guess. I'll just make the page slightly smaller. Right, yeah, something like that. Okay, so this block here needs to fit to this rectangle to be the right size. So I'll just put it up that top corner like that. I'll do it fairly quickly because you would take your time on this, but we'll stretch it that way, and we'll stretch it that way, slightly up a bit. You have to play around a little bit, but you get it to the right size. You get the idea. So that block is now, well, it isn't quite, is it? I've messed it. It wants to be kind of. I'm being really picky. It's just there. Okay, so that block is now the correct size. So if I delete the original little rectangle, so there we are, that block is correct. So what do you do with that? Well, you print it. But I haven't got a printer this big, this is massive. Well, what you can do is, again, if you export it as a PDF file, temp laser, that'll do. That'll do. I'll just call it, yeah, whatever, just some name. I'm just going to export it as a PDF from this program, and there it is. So there's my PDF. Now, of course, now it's massive. It's a big file. So what you can do now is it's a one-to-one PDF. You can just go File, Print. Okay. Select your printer, blah, 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 all the usual stuff. The thing is here, by default, as you know, it'll shrink your thing to fit on your page, which my page is A4. That's not what we want. What we want to do is a poster. Okay. Tile scale 100%. So that's it. That's what you have to do. So this is basically going to say it's a poster, and it's currently going to be made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And if I was to hit print, it would print 6 pages and put little tick marks in if you select these buttons, and you can stick it together, cut it out, and away you go. You know, you can actually make a block, an actual block. So I know it sounds a bit, you know, there's a few steps, but it's actually really easy. But what you wouldn't, no, hold on. No, thank you. I'll just pause that. Oh yeah, sorry. What was I saying? Yeah, you wouldn't normally just work with a block. You know, you'd kind of you want to do things with that. So if I'll just show you briefly what you would do with that. Close tabs. Yeah, close all tabs. What you actually do once you've got a block is you do something like this. So this is one I've worked on. So there's my basic block. But what you do on top of that, you draw that. So I've drawn in the arm skies, the seams, and so on, you know. and then that's page 1 of mine, and then on page 2 I've added in the seam allowance and stuff like that. So I've basically started to modify the block, but the point is you work with the basic block first, which is that. So you start with the basic block, you always construct that, but then from that you go on to sort of work and do other things, and this is depending on the type of drawing, type of garment you want. You know, you might have a deep neckline or whatever, and that's probably a separate video. So anyway, hopefully that's been of some use. Give me a shout if you need any help with it. Thanks. Cheers. Bye.